demographic dividend available, but harnessing that would require major changes in skill development. In fact, in the aging global economies, skilled manpower shortage has been projected. By the year 2020, there would be global shortage of skilled manpower of about 56 million people. And we are fortunate to have this youth, the force, the large and growing young population, which, if it is given right kind of training and skill development, India can possibly emerge as a repository, as a provider of skilled personnel all over the world, because globally there is a shortage and we have the surplus, but the surplus that we have is not properly trained or given proper vocational education, and that is why if we do not harness our demographic dividend, what we may have is the demographic disaster. And to avoid that demographic disaster, what we need is to bring about major changes in our higher education system as well as in skill development formation. So as far as the higher education is concerned, there are big changes taking place. In fact, I look after education also in Planning Commission. In the next 2 years, the Indian higher education system will be completely different from what it is. Today, the number of reform proposals which are at various stages of approval, including the approval by the Parliament, at no time in the last 62 years after our independence, so many reform proposals were being considered at the same time. But that's not the focus of the discussion today. The second aspect, which is the focus of this international workshop, is skill development. There are very important things happening. We all know, most of you know that at the central government level, we have Prime Minister's National Council on Skill Development, which has been set up as an apex institution for policy advice, direction and review. In addition to that, and they have done basic groundwork and they have given the core principles which are there in public domain. Then the second body that has been created is the National Skill Development Coordination Board, NSCDB, which is chaired by the Deputy Chairman of Planning Commission, Shri Montek Singh Ahluwalia. And basically the purpose of National Skill Development Coordination Board is that we have 17 different ministries, Labour Ministry being the largest one, Textile being the second largest one. These are the ministries which are involved in skill building efforts of their own. And the coordination between them is conspicuous by its absence. So when we talk about public-private partnership, PPP, there is a need at the present juncture in India to even have public-public partnership, because there is coordination between these different 17 ministries is virtually non-existent. And that is why the Prime Minister has created this National Skill Development Coordination Board, where the representatives of all the ministries, 17 ministries which are engaged in skill development, are brought together. And a number of things have already happened. I'm part of the National Skill Development Coordination Board, and Sudha Pillai, Member Secretary of Planning Commission, who is coming here tomorrow, is also actively involved. She is the Secretary of the National Skill Development Coordination Board. In the last 1.5 years, this National Skill Development Board has created 5 subcommittees to look after various aspects of skill development, and these include, there was a committee established for evolving the vision on the status of vocational education and vocational training, and the chairman of director of NCERT was the chairman of that group, and they have submitted the report. Then there was a second committee that is on remodeling apprenticeship training as another mode on the job training. Then there was improvement in accreditation certification system, establishing institutional mechanism for providing access to information of skill inventory and skill maps on real-time basis, and so on. So there are 5 different subcommittees appointed. 2 of these committees have actually submitted their reports. They have been discussed in the National Skill Development Coordination Board, and one of them, the one on the remodeling apprenticeship training, Prime Minister has appointed a task force to implement that committee's recommendation, to assess them and to suggest a course of action. I chaired that task force, and we have given the report in record time, in fact, and right now the proposal, the cabinet note for revising, amending the Apprenticeship Act of 1961 is actually in the process. And all the remaining boards will also, the remaining subcommittee reports will also be examined and action taken as early as possible. The third aspect of the central arrangement at the central level that has been made is National Skill Development Corporation, and I'm informed that people from National Skill Development Corporation are also going to be here today and tomorrow. They have done some very good work on the identification of the skill gaps, and they have 21 different sectoral reports which are very, very useful, including one report on the unorganized sector. So they are also actively involved. This is at the central government level. At the state government level, there are missions. In October 2008, the Honorable Prime Minister wrote personal letters to all the chief ministers of all states, requesting them to have a skill development mission at the state level as well. About 4 months back, I convened a video conference of all the chief secretaries of all states to take stock of things. And to my horror, I discovered that half the states have not even made a start in terms of establishing a skill development mission. So, but now we are pushing them. Whenever the chief ministers of all states come to Planning Commission for their annual plan finalization, one of the first questions that I raise is, what have you done about your skill development mission? And things are beginning to change. But on the whole, I feel that whereas all the necessary framework, the institutional framework has been created in terms of Prime Minister's Apex Council on skill building, or National Skill Development Coordination Board, or National Skill Development Corporation of India, which is a PPP gesture where public and private sector have come together and is based in Ministry of Finance. At the state level, there are state level skill development missions have also been initiated. While the institutional framework has been created, it still lacks the kind of momentum that it should achieve. The Honorable Prime Minister has given us a very ambitious goal or target of creating 500 million, 50 crore trained personnel by the year 2022. Now this is the goal towards which we are working. The necessary institutional framework has been created, but the momentum that is required is still not there, and I certainly will make sure, as a person in charge of skill development at the Planning Commission, it would be my earnest endeavor to see that it acquires the momentum to achieve that final target of 500 million trained personnel by the year 2022. And it is in this journey, I think Santosh Mehrotra has done very well by timing this particular international workshop very well, in the sense that at the time when we are about to take off and start gaining momentum to this process, Santosh Mehrotra and his team have put together, they have worked together worldwide international experts in the field of skill development, and I'm absolutely certain that in this 2-day workshop, international workshop, several aspects of the skill development in India would be discussed threadbare. And once again, I want to congratulate, indeed commend my colleague Santosh Mehrotra for having taken this initiative to organize this 2-day international workshop on a subject of a great contemporary relevance. I declare this 2-day workshop on international workshop as formally inaugurated. Thank you very much.
We are grateful to